Western people.
I just feel there's a lot of spiritual truth there.
Is it? That you have to understand that. Huh? To understand life. Huh?
I wouldn't say that.
And also to understand, are you are going to marry or you are married?
Not yet.
That you are going to. You have got a friend?
No.
No friend?
No.
Huh?
No partner.
Huh?
No partner. Yeah.
Partner?
Yeah, no.
You call it friend of friend, you call partner.
And I don't have a partner. I have
Life partner.
No.
Nothing.
Not yet.
જુદા રૂપ રંગ ને બધું જોઈએ છે એનાથી આપણને જુદું દેખાય જેવું છે જ નહીં. એટલા માટે આપણે મહાત્માઓ આ અક્રમ વિજ્ઞાનથી યુનિવર્સલી જીવી શકીએ છીએ. બસ આગળ બેસતું યુનિવર્સલી જીવી શકીએ છીએ. શું કહ્યું?
Universally
As
જીવી
a
શકીએ છીએ.
universal citizen.
As a
So
universal.
our citizenry is universal. Universe means world. By universe I mean world. Because universe is human world. And by world we mean human world only. So human world is different and universe is different. Because the universe accommodates so many forms of life of living. But basically two. That means those who are happy, celestially godlike deities, and those who are not unhappy but suffering, negative, that type, both. And in between human beings and creatures. Oh. તમે આવી ગયા? Oh. Yes. મંદિર હશે. જયંત આવો. જયંત અહીંયા આગળ જગ્યા છે તમારા માટે? આ બગનભાઈ જોડે જ છે. નહીં તો ધીરુ જોડે બેસી જાઓ. ત્યાં હજુ ડેમ આવશે ને પાછા. જય સચ્ચિદાનંદ. તમે બહેનોનો સત્સંગકાળ કર્યો ને પછી અમને સમજાયું કે અમેરિકામાં બહેનોનો સત્સંગ કરવો એટલો ઇઝી નથી. કારણ કે બધા ક્યાં દૂર દૂર રહે ને બધા કોઈનો કોઈ રીતે બીજી હોય ઘરમાં છે. સમજાયું ને? એટલે દીકરી તો ના રાખી શકો. હું નથી માનતો. તમને શું લાગે બહેનો? વીકલી બી વેરી ફ્રીક્વન્ટ. શું કહે? બાય વીકલી છે. હમણાં એટલો પ્રયોગ કરો. પછી વધારે ઇફેક્ટિવ થવું હોય તો વન્સ ઇન અ મંથ કરવું પડશે. પણ બાય વીકલી ઇઝ ગુડ ઇનફ. હા, બાય વીકલી પછી 3 વીકલી કરજો. આપણે બધું કરાય. હા, ચાલો. જય સચ્ચિદાનંદ. સો આજે તો આપણે શું કરીશું? હા, આનો આયા છે એટલે ઇંગ્લિશનો તો લેવું પડશે. ચાલશે બધાને? મહાત્માઓ ચાલશે ને? આ ક્રિશ આવ્યો છે જર્મનીથી. એને જ્ઞાન જોઈએ છે. શું કરું છે? શું કરીશું? જ્ઞાન લેવું છે. એને જ્ઞાનનું ગોઠવીશ. બીજું એમાં તો બધો પ્રયોગ તો બીજો બધા હવે ના થાય. હા, તો હું ગોઠવીશ તારે. ક્રિસ, ફોર હાઉ મેની ડેઝ યુ કમ હિયર? You got 4-5 days?
4 days.
4 days. Up to what day?
Up to
Monday morning.
Monday morning? Can you extend to Monday? Up to Tuesday, can you extend? So that you can leave on Wednesday?
Yes, we can do that.
Is it possible?
Yes.
Do it. And on Monday, we'll be sitting for Gnani meeting. Huh? And Tuesday, we'll sit together to understand what this divine knowledge is. That's totally separate from a worldly human knowledge. Human knowledge, worldly. You understand? That we will do. જેમ બી તમારે તે વખત કહેશે આપણે આવો ને એના આવો તું તો હજુ વાર છે ને ક્યારે જવાની તું કહેતો ને?
આવતા બુધવારે દાદાજી.
આવતા બુધવારે. હા, બેસ અહીંયા આવતી રહે. અત્યારે બેનપણી જો બેસ. મોટા સિનિયર બેનપણી. સિનિયર. ઓકે, જેમ હું બોલાવીશ. જે લોકોને ઇન્ટરેસ્ટ હોય તો આવજો. ઇંગ્લિશમાં થશે અમારે. મને લાગે ત્રીજો કે ચોથો પ્રયોગ થશે. બધા તો નથી થયા. ફર્સ્ટ ટાઈમ તો સમટાઈમ ઇન 95 કેવો થયો હતો મારો પ્રયોગ. અને બધા જ વાઇટ હતા. એમાં કપડો એકદમ PhD હતા, કોઈ સાયકોલોજીવાળા હતા અને યોગ વિદ્યાવાળા ને એવા બધા. અને એક શ્રીલંકન એમનો ગુરુ હતો સંત બળબરામ. એ લોકોની આખી 40 ક્લબ છે, યોગા ક્લબ છે, એ બની ગયું. અને તે વખત પુણેમાં બહુ ખુશ થઈ ગયેલા કે દાદા પણ યોગ થઈ ગયું એક. આમાં જ્ઞાન પ્રાપ્તિમાં ભાષા ઇઝ નો બાર, લેંગ્વેજ ઇઝ નો બાર. અનુભવ, because experience, emancipated experience is beyond words. And intellect and words are those words which are human speech related. Which one?
Human speech related.
That is called the world. And that is how it is called world of words. World of words. Huh? WRD world means WRLD world. Had there not been this WRD at all in this world, what do you think the world would have been in such a state? It was devoid of WORD totally. Can you reply? Think of it. Can you think of a world WORLD? Without the existence of WORD word. Do you get my question or no? Okay.
Ist die Welt,
Oh, Sachidan, now.
ist die Welt ohne Wort möglich?
Yes.
Ja, er fragt was dann heißt. Ist die Welt ohne Wort möglich?
कल्पना करी શકો તું कुछ
Kannst du dir das vorstellen?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
can you imagine कुछ
Ja.
Yeah.
Kannst du dir vorstellen?
Yeah, I can.
what would it be like कुछ what would it be like if you can imagine such a world? Can it be, at least can it be such a world
Kann so eine Welt sein?
which is without you?
What do I know?
मैं ना समझे
હા?
શબ્દ હોય જ નહીં તો દુનિયા હોય શબ્દ વગરની દુનિયા હોય છે કે પૂછી રહ્યા
Kann die Welt ohne Worte sein?
Yeah,
Ähm,
ich weiß nicht.
so you start thinking on it.
Yeah.
You start thinking, will you? And then talk to him. My answer to that, look here. Let him write down. Let him write down. And paper આપો જોઈએ તો. એને પેલા for the notes. અહીંથી મળશે તમને. કોઈ પણ આપો ને કાગળ બસ થઈ ગયો. Let's put it down. Then there can never ever be any WORD world in the absence of WORD word. Never ever. So yes.
Ohne Wort kann keine Welt sein. Also es muss mit Worte sein.
Start thinking. That is the importance of the word WORLD. And experience is beyond words, WORDS.
Und die Erlebnis von Selbsterlebnis ist dann halt ohne Worte.
Divine experience, divine.
Göttliche
God experience. Divine God experience.
Göttlich ist dann halt ohne Worte.
Though God is God, WORD word does not belong to God quality, but God is God's own language. આજે આવું બધું ચાલશે ભાઈ હા થોડું ચલાવો
Sprache ist
ચલાવી
dann
ગયું
halt nicht die Qualität von Gott, aber
શું કરીએ હા ઠીક જન્મની આવેલો છે You get it?
Yeah.
You want to put down? Oh, no, then not here. Everything will come. On Monday, you will realize this God experience. That is my guarantee to you, guarantee. But whatever you can give is, in return you can give me. But because I never accept anything, I means not this body. Because body living experience is such a vast experience in the world. That is how people living with body experience from lives, immemorial and past, so many lives. The experience today also, it does not go away easily, Vasant, Jan. It does not go away that easily in spite of our Agnya Dharma. Let me tell you, this body I experience is a very powerful experience. To let that get erased out from us, that what eyes view, I am not viewing that. That is the quality of eyes to view, not mine. Me, God. Understand? The ears, listen. That is the body experience, ear listening, that needs to get blunted out. Even though there's a lot of noise outside, but once that noise gets blunted out, you experience God peace within you in the presence of such noise. Yeah. That is called Birmai Kanand. Jayant. Birmai Kanand. These Western people, young people, they make a lot of noise, is it right? Those rock music and all that is very noisy. Some cars I see that at the dicky back, they such a great noise they put. How is it? Some young people can do that. But God does not listen, Chris. Ear has listening power, not God. But ears, eyes, nose, tongue, touch, everything, qualities of the human body experience living. And once you experience your God experience, distinctly separate from these human-related, human qualities experiences, which is always in the very presence of the God. Without presence, no human being can exist. Samajh? Do you understand? Do you agree there? Huh? Therefore, wherever, આવો સેજર આવો. તો અહીંયા આવતી કંઈ મળશે જ ને જગ્યા? હા, બેસ. અહીંયા કંઈ ખોરી કાઢી કાઢું હોય તો હશે, ચાલશે, જવા દે, ચાલશે. હા, બહુ ખરી. ઓય અહીંયા આગળ આવી તું છોકરી, એને પેલી બાજુ એક ખુરશી પડી છે ખાલી, હે? એક ખુરશી લઈ લે આ બાજુ, અને અહીંયા ફ્રન્ટમાં દેખાય એવું કરી દે, શેતાબેનની પાછળ. બસ બહુ થઈ ગઈ, બસ. હા, એ છોકરા નહીં રાખે, એને સત્સંગ કરાવીએ. જોઈએ ને જરા શું થઈ ગયું. આ 6 મહિનાનું થયું એનું. કેટલું થયું? 3 મહિનાનું. એને તો વધારે ગમે અને વધારે સમજે. તો મોટા કરતા વધારે સમજ્યું. હા, અત્યારે તારું ગ્રાસ્પિંગ એટલું જબરદસ્ત હોય, પાવરફુલ. એટલે આજે થોડી ગમતો કરી લઈશું આપણે. હા, ત્યારે તમને ઉપર વાંધો નહીં આવે ને. જે જરા આપણને રાખશે લાઈટ, પણ સત્સંગ રહેશે. સત્સંગ હંમેશા એ with full responsibilities and total God seriousness થી હોય છે. શું કહ્યું?
God seriousness.
God per se is not serious, because God easiest of the easiest is the God life. There cannot be any human life that is easier than God life. Don't you understand? And a human life can achieve that state. That is I want to say. To that state human life can develop. The competency of a human life to develop to such a scale is possible. And it can go to the climax that God experience achieves climax state totally, beyond which there is no other human experience of God. It is called the climax point of pyramid. You understand? That competence human beings can have. Or they very near, close to them, yes, all of them. And after that experience, human body does not remain. In that life, after that life is over, there is no life. Do you understand? And that life is called ultimate, final life. A human body, every human being has, all creatures, but human being is the highest developed form, highest. It has got such a wonderful developed five senses, wonderful developed head, beautiful, wonderful developed heart, and all the body organs. All the body organs. So, to understand the importance of a human body, that is first step in understanding God. You understand? You get it? Good, good. So, any Westerner, any language can be told this through the interpreter, everybody, anybody. Westerners, anybody from Africa too. Understand? Anybody from Eastern countries, Asian countries too. But the God experience and understanding the God aspects has to be from a human source that has developed in this experience to such an enlightenment. Such an enlightenment, that enlightenment. It is possible in this life. Today's times are called very adverse times, you know that. You can see all around negativity playing their combative roles against the positive forces. Constantly, and they are very powerful. Even today, positive forces can win, but that aspect requires a lot of valor, God valor. Valor is the quality, not original quality of God, but the quality of an experienced state of the God that is within the body. આપણે અંતરાત્મા રસા જેને કહીએ છીએ ત્યાં પુરુષાર્થ, that is God experience living with God qualities, and the valor through the human body with God experience. In between, you can achieve higher and higher forms. Do you follow? સમજાય છે બધાને? Gender difference does not make any difference for God experience. Do you understand? Normally, in the whole of the world, including the Western world, feminine gender is considerably lower than male gender. Am I right? In Western world also. Though they call all the ladies also feminine, they feel that we are independent. We have got freedom to live life, our own life. Everybody believes. But that is an on-belief aspect, not on life aspect. Because every human lady experiences that subordination, or no. You can see so many ways the life that unfolds everywhere. Is it not so? We can say that. That is called different two egos, one male ego and another is female ego. Ego per se is neither male nor female. Ego is ego. Ego does not know that I am this gender or that gender. Sir, ego is great power. Egoism is a very powerful entity in the whole of the world. Because very egoism entraps the God qualities within its grips every way. That is how power of egoism is very near to the power of God. So much so it is. We should not undervalue or underestimate egoism in any way, in any form, let us say. Though I say this, I have to be in that living till my end of this life. I will have to live like that. So everybody has to, or not.
Yes.
Let us not consider or say, oh, I know something. No. Better live in an attitude way that I know nothing. With the highest regard for the God that is within us. And abode of the God is there in human body. In the full developed human body form. It is there in creatures also. But it is at low level, very low level. As you go more and more low like that. Understand? But human being is only a development wherein you can balance negativity and positivity. Otherwise, in no other form you can balance the two. And negativity gets merged in the positivity. In the development of human being, in his higher experiences. Samjhayo Rita or no?
Yeah.
Actually, there is no word like negativity in the God language, Jayant. What I said? There is no word like negativity in this God language. Negativity means pain, we call it. Pain. Pain, P-A-I-N, pain. So, suicide. This is the organizational building of this whole village, this whole building, full building. So today we are lucky that in this building we have got this wall because of this change of the day. Then, Chris, then we can understand what God is. Changeless God. Change always is to be understood in relative terms of the world language as a theory of relativity. What કંઈક હશે સમથિંગ જે બી તમને ખબર છે આનું બંધ થઈ જાય તો થઈ શકે ટોટલી ઓકે હા થઈ ગયું ઓકે ઓકે આ હોય શાના માટે છે એ લોકોનું આવું કોન્ફરન્સ કે મીટિંગ માટે કોન્ફરન્સ બધું કરી શકાય વેરી ગુડ સરસ છે આપણું કોન્ફરન્સ બહુ સરસ થાય ખાલી હોય તો આપે ઓકે. Anyway, now we are talking about change and changelessness. They both exist together. Change is never without changeless. No, not with changelessness. Change is always with change all the time. You understand? Then all time means perpetually. Change aspect. Change aspect belongs to human aspect and all living entities. Do you follow? Can I? Susan, you get it. તારું રેકોર્ડ કરવાનું મૂકી દે છે ભાઈ તો મૂકી દે અહીંયા ત્યાં ઘરે વાત ફાવશે. બહુ સરસ છોકરી છે અને અનુભવ બહુ સુંદર છે. આ યુથમાં તું યુથમાં પાર્ટ લેજે હા વેન યુ ગેટ ટાઈમ અને આ બેબી મોટી થાય પછી હા બેબી કંઈ ઓબ્સ્ટેક નહીં કરે તને એ તો આવું તો ગમે ત્યાં ઓકે બેબી તો બહુ ડાયો હોય છે બધી. આ મોટા બાબા બેબીઓ તે રાખે લોકોને જીવતા રમકડા તમે બધા લોકો toys. So change and changelessness, very, very important. And changelessness belongs to God in the relative sense of the word, not in the real sense, mind you. Because in the real sense, God is always active, perpetually active. Do you understand? And wherever there is activity of the perpetuality of nature, it is a change aspect not of the God, but of the God quality phases. Do you understand that? That is how Lord Mahavir, 2,600 plus years back, he used to explain ordinary people, uneducated people in the villages. Just he was speaking 3 words to give them total knowledge. Upneva, it is an Indian language, Prakrit language they call it. Upneva. That means a God quality of his wise is there. What is that quality? That God just has knowing quality and perceiving quality, perpetual. Which one? Speak out. Knowing quality, to know and to perceive. You follow? To know and to perceive, there is God quality, perpetual quality. And to know and perceive by senses is human quality. Human quality is relative in nature. Therefore, we have to understand the life of a human being all over the world is common everywhere, though they differ according to their beliefs only. Beliefs only, I say. So development aspect of a human being in all the nations, internationally also, including small pockets of the every nation. Any human being, it is based on the development of belief plane of what one believes to be one. What one believes to be God as God. So belief plane is the most important aspect of the human development. And as that level, belief level gets more and more experienced in higher up, it is called the evolution of a human being on higher planes. But it is not a straight line experience. It is a rise and fall experience. They sometimes they fall down also. They come up with this also. Do you understand? So that is the importance of a human life. But in this such a state, nobody likes to fall. Everybody wants to rise up and go higher and higher up. Everybody. So these are the 2 qualities. Now, if you got any question, you put them. બીજે બી આ પછી લઈશું આપણે. અત્યારે આનું લઈશું ને એને.
આજે નહીં લેવાય દાદા.
હા, એ એક વાત કરું છું. આપણે મહાત્માઓ માટે છે. બહુ સરસ મહાત્મા માટેનો પ્રશ્ન બહુ સુંદર આવે છે. આ બીજું કશું જ નથી કે બાય રિલેટિવ વ્યૂ પોઈન્ટ હું નેમ બેરર છું એ સમજવાનું, બાય રિયલ વ્યૂ પોઈન્ટ શુદ્ધાત્મા છું એના કોન્ટેક્સમાં સમજવા માટેના બધા પ્રશ્નો આવે છે. આ બધા રાજેશ લાકડાવાળાના આમ તો જૈન છે પણ બહુ સુંદર છે અને એટલો બધો માઇલ્ડ છે, લોક જીવે છે, સુંદર જીવે છે રાજેશ લાકડાવાળા. આપણે ઇન્ડિયામાં બધા મંદિરો બનાવ્યા છે ને એનું એ સિવિલ ઇન્ટિરિયર ડેકોરેટર બંને છે એનો એવું છે. તો shall we take up your anything to પૂછો? One by one, give me.
Okay.
Whatever.
One question I have is how we should deal with world pain. So you said that we're living in very unfavorable times, like Kali Yuga.
Yeah.
There is the Amazon rainforest is burning, Mother Nature is suffering.
Yeah.
And I'm always wondering how to deal with that, because
How to live a pain-free life. You mean
Yeah,
to
because
say.
there are some people, they say you need to act, you need to do.
I know, I know.
then
They're
others-
human efforts,
Yeah.
world efforts. Yes, I got the question.
Okay.
The question is, Mahatmas, that he wants to understand the pain aspect that is more prevalent in the present times, as experienced by everybody, day in and day out. Though every human being is desirous to experience happiness and peace. Am I right? So basically, how to be free from pain, that is your question? How to get relievement from the pain, is that question? Huh?
Yeah, and the pain of the world.
Oh, world is okay. So, there is another question again. When you say world, Chris, you see world as Chris understands world to be, that is the all other world like that. Actual God language and definition of the world is totally different. God means an experienced state of higher state of, you understand? Emancipated state. At that understanding, the language of world is totally different, and it is from the angle of God vision. For such a state who is living that all through. And others also like that who realize the God, they also live like that. You see? So, there are 5 principles, basic principles according to which that has to be lived out. That we'll get later on. But today, to understand world, there is another question it has got now. Pain, suffering of the world, you mean to say, not of your personal yourself. So, whenever we talk about the world, the meaning of the world is that I Chris. I am Chris, that is world. Unless as I am factor, you are not living as Chris. Unless there cannot be world for Chris. For Chris understands world to be world. Do you understand? Therefore, to understand the exact language of the world, not prevalent in the world language, but in the prevalent of the God experience language. That is called world. Every individual is a world, sir. I do not mean to say that why you are talking only about individuals and creatures and so many things like that. And today also there are so many societies and cultures and institutions, they are living for the protection of the creatures. But there is a different thing to altogether. Why they live for protection? Because they have come from their state to this human being. Do you get my point? They were at that time, though, such a thing. There is like puppies and dogs, and they have come from that only. They have got experience. Cats, really like cats. They have come with this experience there.
Evolution.
Huh? Human beings come out of one idea experience, all. From a worm also, small worm, everything. From bacteria also. Yes. Human experience is very, human development. You understand? So pain aspect, what you understood, there is world is the pain. No. We have to understand for ourselves that how come I crease, as crease, sometimes I also feel pain. Do you feel pain anytime?
Yeah, sometimes I do.
At what times, for example?
Yeah, when I see the world suffering.
That's right. But that means you do not suffer.
True.
Oh, that is called compassion aspect. You have got a compassion, pity, to have pity on the people. It's a good aspect, it's positive. It's a developing aspect. To have pity on anything, seeing others in pain, for them, to have pity for them, is a good development. It's a development, start-up process of the development. It goes developing, and it develops to such an extent that in Jesus Christ, you know that. It developed to that extent from the lives, past lives, and came in the life of Jesus himself, son of Mother Mary. And what does Mother Mary mean? That Jesus born of his own conception, not the conception of mother. No mother can have any conception without physical union. So no. Do you understand? So very human nature is conceptive in the very nature. Word concept is very important, Jayant. Do you understand? Conception. શબ્દનો અર્થ સમજ્યો ને એક એક શબ્દનો અર્થ તોય તમારે કેટલું આગળ વધી જઈએ આપણે એક એવરી વર્ડ હેઝ ઇઝ ઓન મિનિંગ એ મિનિંગના લેયર્સ છે બધા એ લેયર્સ સમજતા તમે ફાઇનલ અર્થ સમજો ને એને પરમર્થ કહેવાય છે એ શબ્દોનો વર્ડ મિનિંગ આઈ એમ ટેલિંગ યુ પરમર્થ અને પછી પરમાર્થનો પરમાર્થ સમજવાનો ચાલુ થાય છે પરમાર્થ બહુ જુદી વસ્તુ છે પરમાર્થ એટલે કે આપણે ગોડ એક્સપિરિયન્સ છે તે રિસ્પોન્સ ટુ ધી શબ્દ આપણે સમજવાનો છે અને શબ્દથી ફ્રીડમ મેળવવાનું છે શબ્દથી ફ્રીડમ મેળવવું એટલે શબ્દ બોલાશે સો લોંગ એઝ લિવિંગ બોડી ઇઝ ધેર ઇટ હેઝ ટુ ઇટ ઇઝ ફોર બોડી ફંક્શન પણ એ શબ્દ બોલાતો નહીં બોલાય શબ્દ બોડીની ક્વોલિટીથી નીકળતો જશે અને શબ્દ કેવી રીતે નીકળે છે કે પાસ્ટ પ્રોજેક્શન્સ જેવા જેવા થયા હોય એ પ્રમાણે અને આજની લાઈફમાં એક્સપિરિયન્સ થયો ના થોડું તો કહેવું પડશે ને હવે ઓકે સો આઈ એમ ટોકિંગ વિથ ધી અધર પીપલ વોટ દે ઓલ ઓફ અસ હેવ એક્સપિરિયન્સ ઓલ ઓફ અસ સો ઇટ્સ એ મ્યુચ્યુઅલ ટોક લાઈક દેટ સો વર્ડ એન્ડ પેઇન વોટ યુ સે pain belongs to a human being, basically. Unless any human being, he or she, does not feel pain, she cannot understand what pain is. Not that seeing other animals or human beings in pain and to understand pain that way. No, it is not that. It is lower form of understanding, very lower form. Though it is good, it is good. To understand pain is good. So pity word starts from there. But it has two aspects. So, good. અને આ હાઈટ વાળો છે બે વાગે આપણે એડવાન્ટેજ લઈએ ને ત્રણ બધા એટલું બની જશે એનો હાથે પગશે એનો શું છે ઇઝ ઓકે Chris,
that will be fine.
This arrangement, what the present day technology is that this is viewable, not viewable, but listenable, audible to world around. It goes that way. What we talk here today, almost there are a couple of hundreds must be listening there. Here in India and everywhere. Am I right? Vijay, am I right? બધા ત્યાં સાંભળવા હશે બધા થ્રુ યુટ્યુબ યુ મીન ટુ સે પ્લીઝ યુટ્યુબ okay that's how it is so from here also you can take but our language will be vernacular language but if you want to talk to me from Germany you can talk during your times but adjustable times and the US and Germany adjustable times are real good, I say. At least you can get a couple of hours, very good hours. Equivalent. So, pity, P-I-T-Y, pity is a very good quality, positive quality for human development. Do you understand? Creatures cannot have that quality developed in them. Creatures. Even then, we can see in creatures, in their communities, that they do have pity quality them because then समझो pity. Starting points is the starting point to develop God experience is good. Positive living is called positive living. So it is of two kinds. PITI. It is of two kinds, pity. One is outside pity viewing, seeing suffering people and having pity on them. And another is self-suffering pity, self-suffering type aspects, for which we should have pity on our own selves. Do you understand? So there are two types. In that kind, in this negative world, when we pity our own self, it is the very starting point of getting a freedom experience from pity in the presence of pitiful circumstances what a body experiences. It is there. That is called experience. That is the experience of the body in relation to the God. And experience of the God in relation to the body, both ways. Do you understand? So God-body relation is a beautiful relation. Because of the development of human being as a human. But human, they speak such a way like that, but men become male ego, superior ego. So inferior ego says, oh, woman. And a man तरीके समझे पर woman. But you can just pure woman, no doubt. Chris, can I ask you one question? What do you think life is? Is it a comedy or a tragedy?
I like to
Just
see.
think over.
Yeah, I like to see it as a comedy.
No. You like to see. No, life is a mixture of two. You know, in the drama of Othello, the question that occurs about taking a decision, only human beings can take decisions, no other, nobody else. Do you understand that point? Okay, which?
Was ist der Punkt, die Entscheidung, was man dann machen kann?
No one except human beings. Everything. That is the very right, basic right of human being. That is called human right. But this is in the world human right, the way they believe human rights. Actual basic human right is to make decisions. Everyone has got that power. But to make a decision in a decided body, what do you think? Can you understand the point? Okay. Body is a decided aspect of living.
Körper ist dann halt der
Explain.
entschiedene Aspekt.
Do you believe that? Right from birth till end, it's totally decided. Einstein did not say that. Einstein. He came to understand human life as a life governed by destiny. Do you understand? And he thought that, destiny seems to be playing dice with the human life. That was the ultimate final experience because he wanted to understand life as life, what it is. In these present times, anybody not understanding, yes, living in such a way that I have understood everything, that what the meaning of a wife is. And for wives also what the meaning of a husband is. See the play. See the play. That is India. That you will find. there is piousness in the life of a husband and a wife in India. So when they come into a bond, life bond, living together as a marriage bond, that bond is considered to be very pious in India. It won't be so in other parts of other than India. It will be there, but in a very partial, they are low development states. But there it is highest development. That to marry is a very pious occasion for a boy and girl to marry. Do you understand? In India, there are 3 occasions in the whole of life that are considered pious. One is birth, baby. And here they call them baptism. You see? So name and baptism both. That is very pious. Second is this marriage aspect. And third is the end, where all the rituals and everything is done there. They're all pious. A death is considered to be very pious in India. Those who have got the higher thinking development, not for everybody. Death. Jain, do you understand? Particularly Jain followings, they do understand. In Hindu following, it is not that much so. Because Hindu following is based on the society division in a way that Purush make understand death experience and death, what death is like that. એ બધું આપણે ત્યાં કહે છે ને બધું એ જૈન are different. Jain belief. Jain are what? Their belief, not for all Jains, there are very few who have developed thinking that a death is a rejoicing experience. Jain, do you understand? At a Mrityu
Okay,
Mahotsav.
I found this on the web for Is It VJ Sing Experience. Check it out.
થઈ ગયું ભાઈ? એટલે કે એને મૃત્યુનો મહોત્સવ તરીકે ઉજવે છે, પણ એ અમુક ડેવલપ થિંકિંગ વાળા હોય છે તે જૈનોમાં. અને કોઈ વખત ફાધર સનને કહે કે મારું હોય તો મારા નામનું કશું રાખશો ને કોઈને કશું કરશો ને આમ તો કરશો કારણ કે એને જતા રહેવું છે આ દુનિયામાંથી, કારણ કે એ જ આપણે પકડી રાખે છે બધું. બધાને જોજો તમે. મને એક્સપિરિયન્સ, મને એક ફેમિલી મળ્યું એટલે કહું છું. રસિકભાઈ નારાચાર્યના પાર્ટનર હતા જામનગરના એના. એ લોકો શીપર્સને ફ્રેટ ડેલર્સ હતા. રસિકભાઈ નારાચાર્ય એમનો છોકરો બધો ત્યાં કરતો. આઈ યુઝ ટુ સિટ ઇન ધ ઓફિસ. અને મારા મૃત્યુ વખતે કોઈ રડશો નહીં, કરશો નહીં, કરશો નહીં. એ કહે ખરો, પણ પેલા લોકોને રડવું હોય તો કંઈ છોડી દીધું. એટલે એ બધું કેવું છે, થોડુંક એક્સ્ટ્રીમ અન્ડરસ્ટેન્ડિંગ છે, પણ એ જરા ડરમ કહેવાય છે કે મરણને મહોત્સવ, જન્મનો મહોત્સવ ઉજવે છે, મરણનો મહોત્સવ ઉજવે પછી પુણ્યતિથિ ઉજવે છે. બહુ સમજવા જેવું, એક એક પોઈન્ટ બહુ સમજવા જેવા છે. સો યુ સે પેઇન and world suffering, the 2 aspects are different. World suffering is basically human suffering, needs to be understood as a world suffering. Then and then, outside what you say world as suffering, so words, then you'll be understood, appreciated much better. Unless that pity comes to self, your appreciation, pity-wise, of the world, those who are suffering, it will not develop that much in that. It will go developing further. And that is how in Jesus it developed from lives together. And in that life of Jesus, it came to the certain extent of human experience. Then Jayant, do you understand? Huh? તો મને એક આપ્યું હતું જોવા માટે મોઝેસ ને એનું બધું. You understand? જોયું મેં. So, human experience can go to that extent that seeing human beings suffering is ignorance. Why should they suffer? They should live happily. Everybody is born to live happily. Is born to live happily. But why the human beings suffer all this way? So he gave message to the human society, human society. Though he got born as Jew, you know that, Jesus, or no? This is my understanding, huh? I just don't know. You know any of you? Because Romans crucified Jews, Jesus. Romans were Christians. Christianity came after that. After his revelation, resurrection. You know, resurrect. જોયું ને આપણા માટે છે, આપણા અંતરાત્મા માટે છે બધું, પણ પેલા એના એક્સપિરિયન્સ માટે છે. So he went to so much so when people coming and listening his language, and so what beautiful pacifying language, everybody was so many different people living in different states, listening carefully. And when it comes to some place, like that one lady, woman is being punished and throwing stones at her like that. Oh, she first lady, prostitute. So when he had great pity, son. What are you doing? You human beings, beating human beings? What sin that lady has, that you could beat like her like that? I wouldn't mind your beating, you throw stones, beat or anything like that. But please give me one reply, that any one of you is without having committed a single sin. Then everybody gets so up. That is the pity experience, call it. And they understand. They understand their mistake. To understand a self-mistake as a mistake is a great development, start point. That from us, our own individual body, to understand our living as a mistakeful living, that is the quality of body and the inventory that body passed from the past, carried forward, brought forward, and living out. Anything relative has to get carried forward, brought forward, and to be phasing out. That is all Mahavira's message. In the real sense as well as relative sense. Upaneva, Vyaveva. One that gets a beginning has to phase out. And one has no beginning, it will not happen. There is no phasing out at all. There is God. And Duveva. So, elemental aspects of the world, of which the world constitutes existence, what we see, is because of the 6 elements. In short, in Himmatnagar I told you, I think, in a very short language, Himmatnagar. Bhagirath place. He knows Bhagirath?
Yes.
Very good. A good tune there when he says. So, it's basic 6 aspects. So, pity, suffering, and what is the science behind this aspect of suffering that everybody experiences? That is what I talked about. So ultimately it goes to the self, individual. So individual is the basic entity for God experience. Human individual. Individual, only humans will talk. Not creatures, they cannot talk, we are individuals, this, that. No, nobody. You see? Human beings, because human beings experience happiness and pain both alternatively. Right? And therefore, human beings can understand what is pain and what is happy aspects, what is sad aspects, what are joyous aspects, etc. And therefore, they can come to a balance for that in a higher form of evolvement or understanding of human life, one's own life. Do you understand? That is how it is. Now let us talk about the world. World as composed of basic elements. Basic elements. I do not mean chemical elements. No. Chemical elements are in the language of human science, human living science. You know? Whole of the Western world lives in chemistry only. And all world lives in living chemistry. Is it not so? A living physical laboratory, both ways. A living biological physical laboratory. A living psychological experiencing and that is human living. Because all these factors relate to human body, not to God. But after all, what God and what this world existence is, world has to exist on basic certain elements, which are called basic elements, perpetual quality elements. You understand? Understand? So element word is very important to understand. And when that element word is understood by us, well, that an element is called an element only when it is of a perpetual quality, not otherwise. Chemical, this word, the present technology, what they understand in science, none of the elements, what they call 92 or 100 or whatever they are there, they are not a perpetual quality, sir. Jayant, do you understand that? બહુ સમજો આ વાત કહી શકો તમે બધાને સમજાઈ શકો છો પણ એ જેને સમજવું હોય બધા ના સમજી શકે. So element is a perpetual entity and quality. That is a changeless quality. Every element has a changeless quality. And those elements, what world knows and world science knows, world physical science, chemical science, biological, whatever you may call it, they are changing types. There is no perpetuity as a quality in them. Because they come together and get to so many changes. Do you understand, Jan? That is how it is. They are actually circumstantial types of elements. You see? So they come together with in a science that world knows as a science. But in a science that is in God language and God vision that is science, both ways you have to understand. World science is a relative science. And God science is a human being inner living science to understand from within. To understand from within that I am a human being, I am so and so, I am so, etc. From within, this is more important. But having understood the world, outside physical aspects, it is not easy to get it phased out. That is how all over the world, celibacy, and they try to win the physical senses living. Everybody tries that. Even yogis, everybody. But there are 5 physical senses, you know, as I told. 5. So to live and win over that 5, that is impossible, let me tell you. Impossible. Highest of the high, yogi or whatever, no, nobody can. All the 5 they cannot cancel in a given body. At some point, it will so happen in such a way that the pond of the energy that is created in that out of winning over all the senses, at one point, it will give way little somewhat. Everything flow out. At the end of the Sufis one, last one. That was for Shuji, what Parvati made her to understand. Last sense, that is to be fireproof within the fire. સમજ્યા? શિવજી પાર્વતી એક્સપિરિયન્સ આઈ એમ ટેલિંગ. આ જો ટીવીમાં બધા બહુ જોવે છે, તું સમજે? હા, હું સમજુ છું નથી ના રાખો. નહીં, એ આપણે જ આપણા રસ્તામાં બ્લોક નાખીએ છીએ. નહીં. Word understanding is a very important word, Chris, to understand. Do you know? Whatever understanding aspects of a human being gets related, that gets related only as an observation aspect. Do you understand? So, oneself being an observer to one's body, trying to understand it well and go further in higher understanding about that observing state. And what is observing state? What an observer can be? Observer cannot be observer unless there is a subject to observe. So very Chris is the subject in that case. So you have to observe this Chris. Oh no? Hey, Nilesh. What is it, you boys?
Rutvij. Yeah, yes.
Rutvik, I know.
Yeah, I observe.
Amare Abu Dhabi, I have got one Rutvi girl. Rutvi.
Yeah, okay. I'm Rutvij.
And Rutvik is boy. Names are beautiful, I say. To understand name also, name aspect also is a great science. Then. Correct? Very good. So, the observing state of a subjective world is the starting point of development of our higher planes of intellect. Higher planes of intellect. Intellect, oh, so many layers like that. So many. So, world composed of 6 elements. So, Chris, myself, all of us are also bodily, relatively, that composition is of 6 elements only. But the permutations and combinations of those 6 elements of which the body got composed, human body, on the scale of development, partial Darwinian theory, but complete theory is with top absolutes. And the Gnani who understand and who reach that state of absoluteness, though they have not resulted in this into absoluteness. What I speak is a great meaning, very deep meaning.
શું ફરીથી રિપીટ કરો?
એટલે કે જે વિતરાગો અને વિતરાગોનું વિતરાગતા સમજી ગયા છે, સ્ટેજે પહોંચી ગયા છે, એ સમજની વાત છે, અન્ડરસ્ટેન્ડિંગની વાત છે. પરંતુ વિતરાગ નથી થઈ ગયા તો પછી દુનિયા કામમાં લાગશે. એનો મિનિંગ આ છે. નહીં સમજો? દાદા ભગવાન of such a high state, he said so much. Very high stature. But he lived in this world as the pupil of even a donkey. In his vision, I say. Not living wise, physical living wise means understanding. Our understanding has to go to that extent that we are learners from each and every quarter. That is either can be living or non-living. Jan samjho? We are mere learners continuously in the life till the last breath. But in the relative world, everybody wants to experience and respect everybody, that who is a very hardly learned person. You understand? And there is a difference between a learned person and a learning person. Do you understand, Jayant? Inexperienced learned person would be such that he won't be learned wise before the everybody who understands him or her as learned. No. He will be with them to talk with them as if that I am not learned. You see, that Egyptian fellow doctor, Tony Nader, when I listened her, their body, their language,
Lebanese હતો દાદા.
he was Lebanese. Tony Nader, doctor, MD and PhD. He did his PhD in MIT on Vedanta, and based on the theory and practice of the Maharishi Yogi University, Vedanta. That is called kindergarten knowledge for us. Yeah, KG knowledge. Sorry, I am not underestimating Maharishi Yogi. No, why should I? What do I gain from understanding Maharishi Yogi? સમજે? હજુ રિલેટિવ વર્લ્ડમાં આપણે ઈગોના કેવા ફેક્ટરો હોય છે. It is a beautiful way of living to understand ego and infinite aspects of ego and ego living. You see? Ego per se is not wrong. Ego per se, I say, is not wrong. But egoism is wrong. Do you understand? Ego and egoism are two different. Though ego is not God quality. It's a developing aspect of a human quality. Ego. And also creatures also. They also develop. Do you understand? Development is everywhere. But basically, whatever development a human being has achieved, that development is not development further that is going on in other forms. But with that development, they can go to other forms. And in the process of that development, they can be there and again come back to human being for the test examination to understand better and better. And to get to better and better development, higher developments. કરવું જ પડે છે. માણસ કોઈ નહીં જાય. એક માણસ, once one gets human form development, he will never get lost as a human being, let me tell you. He may wander. He will go out to understand, after all, what this world is, what is. So again, he has to come back to the human form. That is how the development comes. Do you follow? It is, human life is like a boomeranging station of human living. What station? Boomeranging station. So wants to understand more outside, he gets boomeranged out to come to one state again. Back. You see? આ સુદર્શન ચક્ર આવી રીતે સમજવાનું છે. જે આપણે દર્શન છે ને, 5 આજ્ઞા 5 દર્શન, 10 આપ્યા દર્શન, તે કહું છું. એ તો રિલેટિવ અન્ડરસ્ટેન્ડિંગ માટે આપણે કૃષ્ણ ભગવાનનું સુદર્શન ચક્ર છે સમજવા માટે. પણ દર્શન શબ્દ આવો છે અને એમાં વિતરાગ લેંગ્વેજમાં 8 પ્રકારનું હોય છે. And the first very development open થઈ જાય છે. That is called doubtlessness living. Total doubtlessness living. Total, I say. Nilesh, hey Rutvik. Total doubtlessness. Is it not possible?
Possible.
In you?
Yes.
Yes, this is possible. So we'll make you live like that. Would you like that? All right. Oh. વિજયભાઈ, આ તો વાત કરતા કરતા ગપ્પા મારતા.
થોડા સવાલો પૂછીએ.
Oh yes. Now let question answer
હા,
session.
અમને થોડો
10
ટાઈમ
minutes.
આપો દાદા.
15 minutes. Just
અમને સવાલો પૂછવાનો
question
છે.
answer session. Come on.
તો મારો સવાલ એ છે.
English.
No, English. How to
No German, English.
Yes, please. How to get a freedom from suffering caused by ego and mind?
Good, very good question. To get liberated from ego and ego affected painness and suffering, We have to understand suffering, what suffering is first in that case. Because people do not understand a happy suffering as a suffering. Do they?
No.
This is the understanding that this Vitrag Vignan, Akram Vignan gives you. Suffering, very suffering. Suffering is of two types. Positive and negative, both are sufferings. That is the real science of suffering that we have to know. And for that, our master, Dada Bhagwan, what you call him? Dada Bhagwan. For all of us, for the world also. Though he is not existent bodily today, he is still existence here in the whole of the world. More particularly India, of course, but everywhere. In a subtle form, very subtle form. A subtle existence is the most important existence of any human being. Subtle existence. So in this subtle existence we have to understand all these things. What is suffering? You see, therefore, Master has one beautiful statement he made, that every human being understands that, oh, I suffer because somebody made me suffering. But nobody understands that once somebody makes one happy, that he says, no, I am happy that he wants it. He does not give it to others that because of him or her I got happy. No. But in a suffering that is painful, everybody says, the other has made me suffer. See the contradictions of life and living. These are human beings all over the world, same thing. But suffering has got over one language, God language. That is what Master gave one aphorism, beautiful. The sufferer is at fault. Repeat.
Sufferer is at fault.
The sufferer is at fault.
Sufferer is at fault.
And what is the experience of human beings? They see sufferings from outside that can make one suffer happiness or unhappiness. That is human experience. There is no God, agency at all. There is no individual, no power at all, agency at all that can make us suffer. No. Then from where that suffering comes? One has to understand the very source from where it comes. Do you understand? So that is how Master says, suffer is at fault. It's a wonderful aphorism. He said and gave to the world. And so many research can be made in this, Krish. And also one can invent on his own, one's own, and give it to the world, day and by. Nobel Prize is too small a prize for this, I tell you. To do so many PhDs you can do in these things. And this is a single sentence. The sufferer is at fault. One of our followers, Dada's followers, lady, and she has very good experience when she has not come today. And she wrote 3-page experience that suffer is our fault. What we should understand and what our world should understand that way. From her vision of understanding, she gave a journal article. I think you have not read, all of you. Over you. No. I can. Shall we circulate? Vijay? Would you like to circulate it?
Yeah.
Sheila, write up little 2-3 pages. Nobody has got? I will give you that. Okay? Sheila's, oh. So, I will give you that, you also that. So, today, if you come to me, I will give it that to you. You please go through it. અને આપણા લોકોને હું આ વિસ્તાર બીજો નેક્સ્ટ ટાઈમ કોપીઓ કઢાવી લઈશું આપણે બધા ડિસ્ટ્રીબ્યુટ કરશું નંબર ઓફ ધમ કોપી કઢાવી નાખો એ કહી દો વસંત I would say you take out 500 copies of it. It won't cost much. If you go to copier, it's 3 pages, 5 cents, 15 cents.
5 cents.
15, 3. It's very costly, you know. In this US, we cannot afford it, no?
Yes.
That is affording, not affording business is wonderful. Living.
Dadaji,
Ah.
my second question is,
Suffering, you understanding?
yeah, suffering I understand, but follow up to that question is Gnani Purush's blessing relieves the suffering?
Exactly. Blessing is a very divine word. Blessing belongs to one who is free of all dualities of life, who has experienced one's own God self, God experience, as totally free of the dualities of life. Constantly, day in and day out, every moment of every breath, people do experience the dualities. What is the meaning of Ajna Dharma? What is the meaning of two viewpoints? This is the basic meaning. Two viewpoints cannot remain in balance in these times. Very unbalanced times, impossible. Because we view our own relations in a way that as if somehow we are attached to them. Somehow. Every human being, he or she, has their own independent living, everybody. But in this world of relativity and relative human life livings, it is always attached somewhere here and there. So effects from here, there, they go on, always they go. And to experience suffering-free living is to experience living in the vast ocean of the world living of suffering without getting affected by the suffering. And when that happens, when you understand yourself as non-associated, non-attached state of experience, which is called asanga state. In English we call it immiscible way of understanding of living. Immiscible way. That is the very quality of God. Technical word is tankothil. Another word, alternative word is achyuta. That is permanency. That indicates permanency. Achyut quality of God is called permanency of quality of God. That God remains as God, all the time as God. That's it. God is a human word. God is a human word. Atma is a human word for human beings all over to understand. But Atma is not given for soul. Soul per se on its own is known as light, divine light, nothing more. Divine light. That everything gets enlightened in that divine light. Divine light does not go out to enlighten anybody, but everything gets enlightened in that divine light. That is called divine light, God, ultimate divine light. Do you understand? But that is final experience. But that must be our goal to live, or no? Our goal cannot be that. We don't want to see that, oh, it's very difficult to reach that goal. Let's say, no, you keep your goal first. And when you achieve the goal, then living for that goal. That master makes you very easy to live. If you have your past practices of making it difficult, it gets more and more little phased out, is much better. And if they get sticky, then difficult. Rita, come out, I say. Be beneficial to all. Give you knowledge. Jayant. Science. તમને સાયન્સ તો બધા બહુ સમજાવવાની છે. Come.
So the divine light is a total absolute.
Absolute, exactly. No, but it is our goal. As in today's times, our goal is that master's understanding. That we must reach that stage. Master's understanding. Master is one who is subordinate to every living entity all over the world. He is not principal, he is subordinate. Physically, living-wise. To live our own human life with subordination in this world of egoistic beings is a very good living. Is it not so? Subordination, you understand? It is free of relations and depressions. Subordination living is free of relations and depressions. લઘુ આપણું કહીએ તે અવેર્સમાં હતું.
દાદા બહુ સરસ લાગે સબોર્ડિનેશન.
બહુ સારું લાગે. એવું છે ને આપણે એવી રીતે જઈએ ને તો હું મંદરબારનો સબોર્ડિનેટ છું ને તો હું ફ્રીડમથી જઈ શકીશ. પછી જવાબદારી મંદરબાર પર ગઈ મારે મેં નાખી નથી એમને, પણ મારે લિવિંગ એવું છે. હું કહેતો નથી એમને. હવે એ રીતે મારી જોડે રહે ને તો એ ફ્રીડમ થઈ ગયું. પછી બીજી વાત મારો પાસે આવે પણ મને કહેતા નથી, પણ એમને બંને એવી રીતે ને તો ઓર મજા આવે. Is it not so? Basic word, basic unit, Krish, basic, this existential unit of the world as human being, human world, is on total human individual aspect as a human commodity, but jointly as dual commodity of he and she. He is God aspect and she is body aspect. So unless you understand your very body aspect as wedded to the God, then you can understand well the marriage aspect of a he and she, two boys and girls, in the divine form. Otherwise not possible. Never. This is very important. And people, they don't want ordinary people also want to understand right understanding. They don't want any mixture of understanding. No, right understanding they want. Which has to be balanced in nature. DM, ઓય તમે કઈ છુપાઈ ગયા છો? તારા બેન આવી છે? નથી આવી છે. તમે ડલાસ જવાના છો કે હમણાં નહીં કે લગ્ન છે? અચ્છા, ઓકે. એટલે વિજય, ઇટ્સ 10:30. સોરી, આ બે ક્વેશ્ચન થયા એનો છે આપણા. ક્રિસ
ત્રીજો પછી રાખીશું.
નહીં, ઓકે. મને 5 મિનિટ લાગશે. બોલો ને.
હા,
બોલો.
કનેક્ટેડ હોય.
The question came to my mind since Gnani Purush blessing is the only route to get the freedom from the suffering.
I agree with you.
So
No.
my follow-up question comes, are you going to leave Gnani's legacy behind for the mankind in the future?
I'm ever ready. For the years together I'm ever ready, but in my vision one must still be there. I have got 1 or 2, but you see, at this age of living in 90th year, living out, you must have your pure love to let this body to live out, at least 10 years.
Yes, દાદા. Yes, દાદા.
But as we go along, everybody has to take care of their body. Child requires taking care. So old age is also renewing. એટલે બીજું નથી માગતા, એ કંઈ માગતા નથી કશું. તમારી માં નહીં, કશું નહીં માગે. હા, કારણ કે બોડી અમને હાથમાં રહ્યું નહીં ને કરે શું? બોડીથી જીવના જઈએ તો એમને આપણે સમજીએ કે મારું કરું છું, આમ કરું તેમ કરું કરી શકશું. પણ જેનું દાદા મૂકવાનું સ્ટેટ હતું, અમે 20 વર્ષથી જવા દાદા સાથે. પછી જોયું, એક દિવસ કહ્યું દાદા પણ કનુભાઈ તો બીજી છે, આમ તો ચાલ. પણ પછી આ બેન આવે ને તેમાં કહ્યું, અમારા બેની વચ્ચેનો આખો ડાયલોગ, આઈ કેનોટ ડિસ્ક્લોઝ ધેટ ઓલ ધીસ થિંગ્સ બિકોઝ આજે અન્ડરસ્ટેન્ડિંગ આસ્પેક્ટ બધા એવા છે ને કે પોતાના અન્ડરસ્ટેન્ડિંગથી લે છે ને બહુ ગડબડ કરી નાખે છે, અને પછી એ ગડબડ બધાને સમજાવે છે. અરે એ wherever you live, let people get right understanding, at least among Mahatmas. આપણે જો ડર જેવું લાગતું હોય બોલવામાં, પણ જો તમે સિદ્ધાંતિક તમારા વાણી નીકળશે ને સ્પીચ સિદ્ધાંતિક, એટલે મારે કોઈને દુઃખ નથી દેવું, એ પેલો ઉપયોગ ગોઠવવો પડશે, ઉપયોગ કરવો પડશે, અને પછી તમે કરો ડીલિંગ કરો. એવું એવા સિચ્યુએશન્સ આવે તો, નોટ અધરવાઇઝ. જાતે જઈ નથી કરવાનું કોઈ. ડેમ તમે સમજાવશો મારી વાત? ઇટ ઇઝ પોસિબલ. સિચ્યુએશન્સ આગળ રહેવાની છે. આટલા રામ કૃષ્ણ આટલા બધા અવતારો છે, એમના જીવનો છે. મહાવીરનું પોતાનું જીવન જોયું. મહાવીરની દીકરી એમના જમાઈ તમે જુઓ, જામાલી પ્રિયદર્શની ડોટર, અને બંને પડી મૂકે પછી મેળ છોડે છે. તો આપણે ઘર છોડ્યું નથી, ઘર રાખ્યું છે અને આપણે જીવીએ છીએ, સંબંધો રાખીને જીવીએ છીએ. તો બધા જ છે એવું જીવે છે ને. આપણે ઘણી વખત આપણે બધામાં સમજવા કોશિશ બહુ એટલું ઘોટાળો થઈ જાય છે ને, અને એના કારણે આ મતભેદ પડે છે. મતભેદ તમને વ્યૂ પોઈન્ટ બની કે વ્યવહાર દ્રષ્ટિથી તમે છો, એમાં બીજું વ્યવહાર પોઈન્ટ ક્યાંથી બેસી જાય છે કે જેથી મત જુદો પડે છે. Do you understand this or not? Or no? Once I told you, Amin Sahib, in 94, Oak Ridge, Guru Purnam experience, I think you might be there, Jayan Bhai. In 94, I say, Oak Ridge, when there was a lot of rain, and a tent was erected by Vasant Bhai at the back. અને બધું હતું જે આયા હશે તે ત્યારે બધું હતું સારું. પછી અને ઉકરીમાં જે દાદા બહુ સત્સંગ એમાં 3-4 વાગ્યા સુધી બધા ડિસ્કશનો કરે. આમાં આ વ્યૂ પોઈન્ટના ડિફરન્સમાં નિયમ સમજો તમે લોકો. You can be instrumental in letting positive understanding by well spread. પરંતુ દરેકને પોતાની કેપેબિલિટીઓ હોય છે, એ તો હોય છે. સમજો, બહુ જરૂરનું છે. તમે સમજી શકો છો આ કનુભાઈ બોડી જીવી રહ્યું છે કનુભાઈ તરીકે, એને અંદરથી અત્યારે શું થતું હશે કોઈ સમજી શકો છો તમે બધા? ડીએમ તમે સમજી શકો છો? In spite of all the happenings, I say. Same thing my Bhagwan, Bhagwan Swami lived. પરંતુ બોડી ફાઇનલ હતું એટલા માટે. તો આપણે ફાઇનલ બોડી તૈયાર થઈ રહ્યું છે ભાઈ, તો એની કાળજી રાખવાની નહીં કે પછી બહાર મતભેદોમાં કાળજી પડવાનું. એ જય, યુ અન્ડરસ્ટેન્ડ હું શું કહેવા માંગુ છું? આઈ એમ ટોકિંગ અબાઉટ અમોંગ્સ અસ. 2-3 minutes. તમે બધા સમજો છો? દરેક જણ આપણે વ્યક્તિને સમજવા માટે આપણે જાતને સમજવા, બધું કશું નથી. પોતે પોતાને નહીં સમજે તો એના પોતાપણું કેવી રીતે નીકળશે મને સમજ પાડો. ચાલો તમે બધા બીજું તું કે મને આ પોતે પોતાને આપણે ન સમજીએ તો મારું પોતાપણુંથી કેવી રીતે હું રિલીવ થઈ શકીશ? બીજું આ પ્રિન્સિપલ છે આપણું. પોતાપણું શબ્દ દાદાએ કેટલી નોમી આપતાઓને કેટલા વિસ્તારથી સમજાવ્યો છે, પરંતુ પછી એ પેલા એમાં શબ્દોમાં પડી જઈએ છીએ આપણે, અને શબ્દોથી બધાને ઓળખવા જઈએ છીએ, તેમાં ગડબડ થઈ જાય છે. દરેક પોતાનું જવાબદારી છે, જેમાં શું કામ પડો છે એકબીજામાં? એવું નથી. દેવને પૂછું છું તો મહાત્મા કોને કેવો? પોતે પોતાની જવાબદારી સમજે એને જ કેવો કે પછી એ વ્યવહારમાં સમાજમાં લૌકિકમાં છે, લૌકિક ધોરણથી મને આપવા દેવાનું છે નહીં. જેમ સમજાય છે તમને? આપણે ક્યાં કહીએ છીએ કે લૌકિક એના ખોટા છે? ખોટું જેને નજરોમાં ખોટું સાચું રહ્યું નથી એ સ્ટેજે તો પહોંચવું જ પડશે આપણે. દુનિયાની નજરમાં ખોટું સાચું એ તો એક્સેપ્ટ કરવું જ પડશે આપણે, પણ એમાં ક્યાં નથી. એ તો નહીં કરે, બહાર કાશી. એ તો ચોખ્ખું દાદા કેટલું ચોખ્ખી સાદત ભાષાઓ સમજાવે, કેટલી રીતે કોઈ બાકી નથી રાખ્યું અમને. તો વિજય આ તો 10 મિનિટ થઈ ગયા. નમો વિતરાગાય, નમો ઓરિયંતાણમ, નમો સિદ્ધાણમ, નમો આયરિયાણમ, નમો વજ્રાયાણમ, નમો લોય સુબસાવણમ, એસો પંચન મુક્કારો, સવ પાવ પણાસણો, મંગલાણમ ચ સર્વેસિમ, પરમં ભવૈ મંગલમ. ઓમ નમો ભગવતે વાસુદેવાય, ઓમ નમઃ શિવાય. જય સચ્ચિદાનંદ. આપણે બધા મહાત્માઓ એક જ છીએ. આપણામાં કોઈ ભેદ હોઈ શકે જ નહીં, કોઈ હોઈ શકે નહીં. કોઈ ઊંચું કે નથી, કોઈ નીચું નથી. એટલું સમજી લઈએ અને આ 3 મંત્રોનું મહત્વ સમજી લઈએ ને તો અત્યારે ડિસ્ચાર્જ કરવામાં પણ આપણને એટલી બધી અંદર બેલેન્સ આખી થતી જશે, શક્તિ બેલેન્સ કરનારી ખુલ્લી થશે એ જોવાનું. આપણે એક બાજુ બોલીએ કે સર્વ પાપ પર સર્વધન પાપ માટે આવું ભાવના કરીએ છીએ અને બીજી ક્ષણે એ ભાવના તૂટે છે. આ બહુ સમજવા જેવું છે. એટલા માટે દાદાએ એટલીસ્ટ મિનિમમ 5 વખત સવારના સાધનું કહ્યું છે ખરું, પણ એ ઉપયોગપૂર્વક 5 વખત કહ્યું છે, ખાલી વર્બલી બોલી જવા નથી કહ્યું. જેને સમજ્યા ને ખરેખર ઉપયોગપૂર્વક દરેક મહાત્માને કહીએ અમે સમજાયું. અમારે જ્યારે બોલીએ ત્યારે અમારો ઉપયોગ બહુ જુદો જ હોય, પણ દરેકનો આપણે બધાનું હોઈ શકે છે એમ કહું છું. નમો પરિહંતરણ પોતાની સાથે જ આપણે આપણી વિઝનમાં અન્ડરસ્ટેન્ડિંગમાં દાદા ભગવાનને જે શ્રીમંદર સ્વામી હતા એ જ આપણે હમણાં છે. કારણ કે દાદા ભગવાન તો આપણે બધા વ્યક્ત છે જ, આજે શું વ્યક્ત છે અને સ્ટેબલ થવા માટે આજે પુરુષાર્થમાં છીએ. નવો સિદ્ધાંત તો કે એ આપણો અલ્ટિમેટ ગોલ છે. સિદ્ધ એટલે કે એ જગ્યા નથી કે જઈએ કે અહીંથી આપણાથી બહીને જવાનું છે. એ આપણો સ્વભાવ છે, એ સ્વભાવ સિદ્ધ થઈ જવો જોઈએ. આ શરીરમાં, સ્થૂળ શરીરમાં સિદ્ધપણું પ્રાપ્ત થયું. તમને દાદાએ શબ્દોમાં સમજાવ્યું તમે 1 સિદ્ધ થયા, આ બાકીનો 7 તો તમારો વ્યવહાર રહ્યો પૂરો કરો. એટલે તમે ટોપ પર પહોંચો. જેમ વ્યવહાર પૂરો થાય નીચેથી ઉપર વધતો જતો જાય તેમ તેમ ઉપર તમે જતા જાઓ છો. અન્ડરસ્ટેન્ડિંગમાં તમારી કોમન સેન્સ એટલી સુંદર ખીલે કે શરીરની બુદ્ધિ એની આગળ ડીમ થતી જતી જાય ધીમે ધીમે. અબૂત ક્યાં કહ્યું? અબૂતતા અહીંયા કઈ છે? બુદ્ધિ વિહીનતા ને અબૂતતા નથી કઈ સાહેબ. દાદાએ બુદ્ધિને વખોડી નથી જરા, પણ વિપરીત બુદ્ધિને વખોડી છે એમને. આ કાર વિપરીત બુદ્ધિથી ફરી વળ્યો છે બધો. એ તો આપણે દરેકને જે કર્મો બંધન રહે કઈ જવાના આપણા ક્યાં જશે? મારે બહુ એને કાઢવું છે, કરવું શું કરવું સમજવું પડશે મારે. સમજ એક જ વસ્તુ છે કે આપણને અંદરથી આપણી વ્યવહાર દ્રષ્ટિ ચોખ્ખાઈ કરતી જતી જાય. જય સચ્ચિદાનંદ.
જય સચ્ચિદાનંદ.
Chris, so I meet you on Monday only. In the next 3 days, you be with Vijay Bhai. Try to meet everybody, whatever. Huh? Be free. Move about. See in this village also. Huh? In this building also, so many things are there. Huge building, 4-5 stories. Everything is there. Okay. જય સચ્ચિદાનંદ. Okay.
હવે ફરીથી સોમવારે આપણે આ જ રૂમમાં મળવાના છે.
Wonderful. અરે વાહ, સરસ રૂમ છે આ, બહુ મજાનો રૂમ છે. મંડે.
Monday.